Hello and welcome. I'm the Autistic Modeler. Today, we're going to be building the 1988 Dodge Daytona Shelby Z by MPC. Round 2 was nice enough to send this over for a full build and review. Come on in, let's open it up. The Autistic Modeler is proud to be partnered with Round 2 Models, the makers of great kits from AMT, MPC, and Polar Lights. Get yours today. All right, well, let's take a look at that box. Looks like this is a photograph of an actual real car there. So that's pretty cool. We got the Daytona Z. Pretty neat stuff. And then look at this crazy 80s style job here with the side pipers on it and stuff. Pretty crazy. And then over here, you got two different versions you can build. You got an engine coming out of the hood. And then, so you got a V8 option. That's pretty interesting. And then your turbo 4-cylinder, 2.2 liter 4-cylinder. Now this V8, I don't recognize what that could be. It's definitely not a Chrysler V8. I got a 318, but it doesn't look like a 318. Definitely not a 440. Small block Chevy? I don't know. Any of you guys out there, comment down below and see what you think that might be. And then you got your 2.2 turbocharged engine. Yeah, and back in 1988, these were a runner. I'll tell you what, they keep up with your Mustang Fox bodies and IROC Camaros back in the day. When I was younger, in one of my first jobs, I worked at a Chrysler Dodge dealer that serviced these still, and they were still coming in. They were only a few years old then. And I'll tell you what, a 17-year-old sidestepped the clutch. These things were runners and just smoked the front tires. Not that I did that, but I think they were pretty cool cars. And then here's our back there with all of our parts trees and whatnot. Pretty cool stuff. So let's take a look at what we got. Well, right away, let's take a look at this body. Really neat looking. Got a good detail under the hood there. Looks good. Interior bucket. It's got straps to hold down, I guess, like the sunroof or something, I guess, if it's removable. Underneath looks pretty good. Fuel tank. Everything's separate pieces, so that's really neat. There's going to be some detail in this kit. Separate door side panels, so we can detail those up. That's pretty cool. And then I guess this is the rear seat backs, I'm assuming. And then this custom hood has got louvers in it. Can you guys see that? Pretty neat. And it's got a cutout there for that V8 engine to go through if you want to use that option. And then here's some custom bumper here. Looks like rocker panel moldings for the custom version. There's our little 2.2 4-cylinder engine there. Is that a car phone? Look at that. It's got a car phone on it. Nothing says 80s like that. I gotta call my stockbroker here on the phone just a minute in my Daytona Z. So that's pretty neat stuff. And then here's our stock hood there with our, I think at the time they called this the power bulge hood, but that's pretty neat. And there's it's got a solid sunroof thing. That's interesting. I thought it would have been a clear piece, but okay. And then there's our wing. And I'm not sure with this stuff. Headlight covers, I think. Seat backs and seats. And then there's, I guess it's got two different 4-cylinder engines available. Because you got this 4-cylinder here. Over here, you got that one. So you get 3 engines in this kit. 1 8-cylinder and 2 4-cylinder engines. So that's pretty neat. Separate battery. And then the accessory belts and timing belts is what that piece is. Pretty cool. That's it. That's pretty cool. You get those engines. And then there's our regular Chrysler steering wheel and dashboard. Dashboard looks really good. It's a manual. Your steering column. Steering column has a key switch. Let's see if I can get that in the picture. Right there. Can you see that? It's got the ignition switch on there. Pretty neat. All right, and then Here's our other stuff. There's that 8-cylinder. Now, even with it taken apart, I don't know what that is. Small block Chevrolet. Now, see this front pulley, or I'm sorry, timing belt cover, kind of looks like a 318 looking thing. I don't know. But here, small block Chevy. So, I don't know what that could be. Interesting. There's our stock front bumper cover and rear cover. Radiator fan is separate from the shroud and radiator. That's pretty neat. Our CV axles, rear axle there. Our K-frame, sway bar. I think this is part of the rear suspension. Shock absorbers, exhaust. Catalina convertible. You had 2 of them. And then our custom dual pipe muff. Firewall. I think this is a differential piece. That's what I think that is. Pretty cool. And then here's our chromage. And then here you got these custom wheels, which I noticed that these are 4-lug and the stock are 5-lug. I don't know. Pretty neat. And you got different chrome options here. Got some Moroso valve covers for that V8. And then there's a chrome valve cover for the turbo 2.2 engine. Side pipers, some chrome air filters there for that V8 engine. And then here's our glass. Pretty neat, really nice looking. I'm glad that these rear section, it is all one piece. This looks like it might have been trouble putting in, so that's a good thing. And then our tail light. It's got a tiny Chrysler badge right there in the middle. Pretty cool. Nice detail. And then you get 4 of these tires. They're squishy. They're brand name, so it's a BF Goodwrench Radial TA. So those tires are definitely era correct. These used to be on everything back in the 80s. Nice looking tread too. Good looking tires. And then here's our decal sheet. Pretty cool. I like these Shelby logos and turbo. And then remember they used to always put these on the top of the windshields back in the 80s and 90s to tell you what kind of car you had, in case you've forgotten that you had a Dodge Shelby Z or Camaro or Mustang. It reminded you at the top of the windshield. And then there's our Dodge license plate for the front. And here, kind of like a computer looking 1988 there. And then the Kansas license plate says rad in 88. Everything was rad in the 80s. Nice pinstripes, and it's got decals for our gauges right there. And then our radio and climate controls and whatnot. And then Daytona. Really nice. That's a nice decal sheet. Looks good. And then let's take a look at our book. Here's our book right there. Let's open her up. Nice and large. And then it looks like there's our 8-cylinder engine there. Different versions and whatnot. And then here's our 4-cylinder turbo engine here. But then you got your 4-cylinder turbo engine with intercooler. So you got, for some reason, they gave you 2 complete engines for the 4-cylinder. And then, oh, well, look at this. This one here looks like that's an automatic. And then there's your manual gearbox. See that? You got your transmission is a different shape. This is a automatic, and that's a manual. So that's interesting. That's pretty cool. And then there's our intercooler parts there and different versions. So there's different versions, so you got to really watch what you're doing here. And then put it in there with your CV axle and whatnot. And then your K-frame. And there's our intercooler right there. And our fan and shroud. The fan motor is a separate piece. That's pretty crazy. And you got different options for your radiator hoses. So you got to really watch when you assemble in this one. And then there's underneath our exhaust system. Pretty basic. Yeah, that piece was a sway bar for the rear axle. And then there's our interior stuff and our car phone there, mount it. Steering column tells you how to put the gauges in and whatnot. Glass and bumper assembly. Wheel options. And looks like the wheel and tire package here putting on and different hood options. Striping, spoiler, and then different striping here. So this is a pretty cool kit. I'm excited to build it. I love stuff from the 80s because I grew up in the 80s and I remember these cars very well on the street. So I'm going to Google-ize other pictures and find out what we got options here and figure out what we're going to do. So when we come back, we'll start on it. So stick with me. All right, well, you saw me square this hood up in the front so it fits better. Also knocked off some of these mold release lines here so it's a little smoother finish. Now, I got the hood put on. Now I can't get it off without tearing it up, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I did notice I was going to glue on the rear bumper cover to the body, but I think whenever you do that, you're not going to be able to get that chassis in there. So I'm going to leave that off, paint it separate, and install it later. Front looks pretty good. That should be easy. But that rear, I think there's no way to install it and then get your chassis in there. So we're going to leave that off and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and get this primed painted. So come along with me with that. right, it's that time again. That's right, final assembly. Let's take a look at this. First of all, let's look at that Daytona body. That turned out great. I really like that. It has that 80s look. I'll tell you what, I like those pop-up headlights. Underhood detail was really good. Looks great. There's our taillight there. And then our wheels turned out really good. I got that aluminum look to it. White letters. That's going to look really sharp. And then here's our interior. We got our car phone in there and our radar detector. And I'm sure in there is a Van Halen 1984 cassette in the tape deck. Pretty cool, really nice looking. And then here's our chassis with that 2.2 liter turbocharged engine. That turned out really nice. Looks good. And then there's our firewall, our battery, our side mirrors, glass. And then the mirror. The mirror does have a positive location for the attachment point, so that's going to be easy. A little Mod Podge there should take care of that. All right, when we come back, it'll be all finished. Stick with me. Well, all right, get out your parachute pants and your VHS copy of Red Dawn. The Dodge Shelby Daytona Z is all finished. This was a super cool build. This reminds me of my childhood. These were everywhere when I was a kid. Super fun, cool car. It went together really good. A little bit of fit and finish, but some sanding and a little finessing goes a long way. It sits good. I had no trouble with final assembly. The only thing I recommend, and it doesn't show in the instructions, the front windshield goes in from the inside and then tabs over the firewall here. And then when you install it, now you can see down in there, so it should be painted black in this area. On the real car, it is black and it has like a plastic covering, so it covers up the firewall and everything. The interior fit right in there, no fuss. The side windows and everything all go in from the inside, but when you cut them off that runner, they become separate pieces. So I put in the large hatchback piece first, and then our sides with some Mod Podge, and it stayed in and fit really good against that interior. I had no trouble with that. The wheels sit good. It sits on all fours. It looks good. Those white letter tires show up really well. And I like that turbo decal that was included. I really like that. That turned out really well. And then the inside rear view mirror has a positive mount hole in the glass. So a little Mod Podge. And I installed that. I painted the back of the mirror black. And the front is the chrome. And it had those interior gauges for the dashboard. Really neat. This was super fun. The turbo pieces all fit together nice. Radiator. The hood closes without hitting the engine. I had a lot of fun with this. And I'm glad you follow along with our build. So, until next time, I'm the Autistic Modeler. Happy modeling.